Greetings and salutations, as one of my favorite literary characters of all time, Wilbur the Pig from Charlotte's Web, often said. Sorry about that, I got a text on my real phone and I was distracted. Anyways, which I never get, so of course I got one now. I hope you guys are well and cool. Samson and little girl are here and trying to stay cool. And she jams herself under my blankets. After I make the bed, she crawls in there and digs under there. So if you hear somebody scratching around, it's just her. So I hope you guys are staying cool. I hope everybody is blessed. When we have heat waves like this, it is common or not unusual, much like in a full moon, for people's behavior or, just people's behaviors, words even, to be to some type of extreme, right? People are irritable. It's hot. Not everybody has air conditioning. Not everybody has a house or a shelter over them at all. So remember that if you start getting fussy. I know that I have to take myself all to that point all the time, every day. I have too much. I'm too spoiled. So it's time to do another overhaul and get rid of a bunch of things. And I don't quite know how to do that because the things that I do have here that matter to me, that I feel like could contribute to somebody's life or my life, are the books that I have gathered up and collected from the consignment shops all around. And that brings me to this topic. I've wanted to, we're seeing extremes and polarization everywhere in the media. People are either pro or nay something, and it's really, there is no middle ground. There's no compromise, there's no middle ground, and I don't even know what else to say about that, because, again, and now you have things like the weather attributing and the economy, and so that can be a lot, right? That can be a lot on each one of us all the time. So let's try and remember, and please know I'm talking to myself too. I really don't want to have to say at every video, because I don't know, it's said to me often, I know I'm a piece of crap. I know I've not lived right all the time, which is why I think I need to move. You can't have a fresh start, and you can't heal in the place where you were damaged. Even though I did some damage myself, how am I supposed to forgive myself if I'm constantly hearing rhetoric like that about all the negatives? And they're, we don't need to be praised all the time either, because that, these two extremes again. Are you going to praise somebody all the time, or are you going to condemn them? Well, we need to be somewhere, again, in the middle ground, and we need to be well balanced and not easily baited. If someone in your life is an irritant to you, or seems to be intentionally trying to bait you, as is the case, or they believe to be the case with a lot of quote-unquote targeted individuals. I believe, it begins in the spirit, but it's also very technological, and we did not create our own tech, and I think it's been around for a long time, and that's why I want to look into Gnosis with you guys. It is also being mocked in the media and on TikTok, and Gnosis often talks about angels being androgynous, right, as far as gender goes. I'm not a doctor. My disclaimers are in the description box. This is just me, a person trying to navigate through these times, sharing my journey with you, hoping that it helps somebody else avoid even the little daily mistakes that I may make by, making a snap decision, hasty judgment, unrighteous judgment, of my neighbors, my fellow man, my coworkers, my family, right? And that's another reason that sometimes, and I know this goes against the grain of what you're hearing. Yes, fellowship is a good thing, but at this point in time, it would not be a bad thing if everybody kind of fasted from technology and from each other and touched base with who they really are, your genuine self. Get to know yourself, right? And I just found out that that's a Rosicrucian tenet, that's the first step towards some type of enlightened initiation. And by initiation, I don't mean a ceremony somebody else throws for you. I mean the spiritual steps that you go through when spiritually evolving or quote unquote ascending. Now, again, I know some of this might sound new agey to people, but Christ did talk about these things, right? And I'm not being a heretic, and I'm not telling you to go with darkness. In fact, I want to expose some of these things without making fun of them, without mocking them, because there is truth here. And a lot of the early Christians before Christ, right? A lot of the people who would be called Christians or had similar tenets, because, every religion picks up parts of that person's heritage, their culture, which is related to nationality and ethnicity. And we need to learn to separate that. If Native Americans want to go have a powwow, that's a cultural and a spiritual. That is their heritage. You cannot say that that's blaspheming, even though they may have converted to Christianity or some type of Catholicism or something. These are two separate fundamentals to make us who we end up being, right? They make us who we are. I hope that makes sense. And I choose books sometimes. I could read to you guys from the Rosicrucian Order. I have, books, physical books on hand, and this, but I like to ease people into certain topics because I don't know what you know, right? And these days people just don't read a lot, and that's just a fact. So I try to start with the basics on a topic. A lot of people talk about these things and they don't really know about them. They've never studied them. They're just watching other people's videos. They're just copying, pasting templates so they can get views and get monetized. That's what's happening. There is no journalistic integrity even on YouTube anymore. Even independent journalists, what is that? How do they research? They don't go anywhere on foot. They don't fly anywhere. It's all done via computer. How do you know that these facts you're pulling up on a computer are correct? So you have to think about all of these things in today's society. And the more you can simplify things and minimize, the more you can simplify things, and the more let's say, minimalistic your life can become. And that's actually a spiritual blessing, right? Now, again, I'm not like most people, and that's okay. I don't condemn anyone else for owning property or bearing arms or any of that. For me, where I'm at in my spiritual walk, I cannot be in alignment with any of those things personally. But I'm not, quote unquote, against them either, because I know where we live and the times we live, and I know that men are supposed to protect their families, right? So how can you spiritually protect yourself from things that are happening, and society or the secular mainstream psychology will call these individuals narcissists? So if you think back to Greek mythology and even to biblical or humanity's origins, right? We were never alone, right? There's always going to be something there, like a resistor, right? But that refines us, right? If you know anything about metalworking, you understand the process of refinement. Now, your spiritual refinement, that is alchemy. And again, I know that some people, that are so strict and straight-laced and have never looked at anything else but scripture or but, maybe the Mormon book, the Book of Mormon. Some people are in a bubble. Now, I'm not going to say that's good or bad, because then again, there's pros and cons to everything. The goal here is to show the commonalities and to say, take responsibility, take accountability, recognize the mistakes you've made, but now go forward. Don't let those things hold you down, because there are lower level frequencied entities, we'll say, that we cannot see with our human eyes on most of the currencies that we dwell in, okay? Every body, every piece and bit of matter puts off its own personal frequency, okay? This is how contact tracing, can be very specific. It's also in war for drones and assassination purposes, how those things can be very specific, because we all put off our own frequency. If you are, and again, just like I said earlier, for my own self, if you are in a position where you're constantly feeling condemned or you're condemning somebody else, and I know from my personal story, it goes back and forth. I'm not even going to say that it doesn't. I understand that I am a part of the problem. But how do you navigate that, right? And how do you bring your frequency up so that if you're in a conflict with someone, that you can remain calm and rational and use your human reasoning to converse and to interact with other people that maybe you don't agree with all the time. Or maybe there are people around you who purposely are baiting you. And I would personally call them narcissists. Now, this is one of those books you cannot judge by the cover. So I probably lost a couple people already that just, tapped in for a moment. Don't let the cover fool you. There is information in here that can act as a platform for you where you can spring off. This will help you understand when you're seeing certain videos or you're seeing things come on the news or you're seeing things in real time manifesting. This shows you a little bit, a peek behind the curtain of where that comes from, where the origins are. And we have to remember that angels are on their own frequency too, right? Angelic beings, what would we call them scientifically? Higher leveled, higher frequencied beings, right? Higher level frequency beings. And so they're on a higher frequency than us. Demons are, quote unquote demons, the lower level sentient beings should be below us. We should tread upon them. And we're told this in sacred scriptures from every branch from every culture. I want to say that because it's not even always faith systems. Sometimes it's just in their culture. It is the stories that they orally tell. There is a flood story in every culture. Every culture has the flood story. So you have to surmise that the flood actually occurred. Why would all these people write about a flood from all over the place if it didn't actually happen? Right? We have to learn to go around the experts because they are trying, quote unquote experts, they are trying to supersede yours and mine free will. So this is all about don't condemn yourself, forgive yourself, don't hang on to that stuff, because if you do, you're not just hanging on to that, but you're also picking up more baggage along the way. Because these lower level parasites will latch on to the grief or the guilt or the conflict that you are facing in your own soul. This is why some people, narcissists we call them, will purposely bait you. They want the argument. They want to fight. I go through the same routine every day. I'm offered meat of some kind, an animal, food. If I haven't eaten yet, I have to have food. I get a little too mouthy, give her food, right? Oh, it's a woman. She must be crazy. Put her on medication. She has her own opinion. We better shut her up. I know I sound hard, right? But there is a way to be resolute and firm without acting out. And that's what I'm trying to get across to people. Don't be baited, because that's the goal. The goal is to get you to act out. The goal is to make you one of the quote-unquote crazy stories in the news. Okay? Now I want to show you something, but we're going to come back to this because I want to show you how it relates to these Archon things. Right there. This guy. This is an example of somebody that was probably baited into this type of behavior, this extreme behavior, right? We also have the heat happening. We have the homeless situation. We have the economy that's a mess, okay? So everybody is stressed out to a point, right? So this guy, and let's pay attention here. Gene Oliver, 33, allegedly entered what? 555 Fifth Avenue. I wonder what that means in gematria. An eagle. Properties of the number 555. Discernment of the spirits, both good and evil. Desire, lust, swift attack, and expression of emotion, laughing or crying. Latakia, Syria is devastated by an earthquake in 555. Huh. The Peace of Augsburg is established in 1555 to end armed conflict between the Catholic Protestant forces and the Holy Roman Empire. Excuse me. Wow. John Rogers becomes the first Protestant martyr of England under Mary I in 1555. He is burned at the stake for preaching to be beware of the pestilence of popery, blah. Oh, so he was speaking out against the Pope. Yeah, we've had evil popes. I'm not gonna deny that at all, right? I was raised Catholic. For me, it's kind of a cultural thing. The tenets and the foundation and the doctrine are there, right? So I'm trying to pull the pieces that resonate with me, that apply, right? Now, if you want to know more about what I believe, because I think that we are all entitled to know the source of the information that we're receiving. Who is the person delivering this information? What is their agenda? Well, the channel is not monetized. I don't really have an agenda other than trying to, this is an act of repentance, to shine a light on things happening so that people can spiritually protect themselves and take back their sovereignty, so you can understand that you are sovereign. You are a sovereign being. You are a sovereign nation unto yourself. Okay? I weary of seeing everybody, well, I didn't have a choice. I thought that for so long. Like, literally every time as a child that I said no, I had to sit on the toilet with soap in my mouth. I hate dial soap to this day for that. Every time I said no. As I got, and I was actually told, about the birds and the bees, you just give the boy what he wants, because otherwise you could get really hurt. Like, literally, that's what I was taught growing up. I was taught how to be a submissive slave, pretty much. I mean, that, if you want to boil it down, that's what it comes down to. And my grandma would scrub me and thought that I was dirty, and I couldn't figure out why, right? Like, I was her son's daughter. All of us are dealing with these generational issues, is my point. It's not just you, it's not just me. It's everywhere. It's not just one group. It's everywhere. It is in us. And we keep trying to point the fingers. Let's focus on what we can change. Let's focus on the solutions and not the problems. But first we have to diagnose the problem, and that's what I'm trying to do, is shine a light on something. So we're going to get to this. 1 second. The Hebrew contraction adds up to 555, is translated as an eagle, and is transliterated as Hanesher. To be confused with the Hebrew nesher, which is translated as just eagle and as the sum of 550. So this one says an eagle. Isn't that ironic that we looked this up because of the Florida thing right there, right? 555. And it's an eagle. And he's throwing things off of a high, like kind of making furniture flat. I just think that's a weird. Do you see sometimes how numbers and letters and things attach to people? They're not doing all of this on purpose. It's not all on purpose. It's something. And again, if you want to relate real life, our reality, to computer programming or coding, I'm going to make a very strong case that that's what's happening in a few videos. I'm going to try to. However, we have free will. We are the anomalies. But because we are the anomalies, we could also be viewed or could turn into a malware, a computer virus, right? And I know not everything of this is going to make sense to everybody. We're all at different parts in our walk, right? Now, the goal is here. Now, again, just like, and we're going to get back to the boogeyman stories because the Slender Man stuff popped up again, which is wild. It was around in 2012. I start watching it again and posting, and then they make a documentary. So, again, are we creating our reality? I don't know. I don't know what's happening. But I do know that there is some type of parasitic, lower frequencied, vibrational, sentient entity, legion, that we are dealing with. And I want to show you how to cope with that, okay? Now, let's look about this book real quick so you can understand what we're looking at. Whatever mythologies you pursue, predator aliens, Wetiko, Don Juan's flyers, Klipot, Nephilim, Anunnaki, satanic demons, memetics, the intrusion itself is real. And that's what my point. It doesn't matter what name you give these things. I don't personally care. They might, I don't. They are common. It's a common thread in every mythology. And mythology just means history. It's another word for history. Okay, it does not. They've made everybody think mythology equals non or equals fiction, and that's just not the case. Sometimes, yes, but not always. What is attacking us, what each of us must fight, is foreign in the sense of being alien. It comes from outside of ourselves. It wants to conceal from human beings their true divine potential and identity as sovereign spirits. I haven't even read this in a while. I just was reading last night. I wanted to, just look for something to kind of feed my mind a little bit. And I was reading through a few books, and I thought this one would be a good, little intro to show you guys behind the curtain a little bit. Therefore, we must develop countermeasures, right? We must protect ourselves. If you would protect your house, you protect your family, your children, you even insure your car, your pets sometimes. Why are we all neglecting our spirit and acting like it doesn't exist? Why are there people that actually don't think there's anything after this? To me, that's hitting a brick wall when we get to that part of the conversation. Because I can't prove it to you. I mean, if you look around and you can see the sky, right, and the trees and just all of it and how big it is, and you think there's nothing, I just don't know what to do with that. Because I do think we're eternal, and I think some of us walk side by side, our relatives, our ancestors are here with us, but they're on a different wavelength now. They're on a different frequency. If you ever saw, I don't know if it's Finding Nemo or a turtle movie, but there's this turtle movie about this migration of turtles, right? And about how they all have to catch this jet stream, I forget which one, in the ocean to stay together, and how they got to be careful. It's almost like getting on a water slide or something, or going on an escalator when you're a kid, trying to keep up with your parent and not fall or get stuck. God, I used to hate that as a little kid. Anyways, that's the visualization it brings to me. So this is to give every human being a means to fight back. We must defeat, delete, neutralize, and obliterate the invaders in order to realize who we human beings really are. Now, there are a lot of people that talk about this. I've shared a lot of videos from a lovely blonde lady, and I can never remember her name or the channel name, but I'm sure I'll say it again now that I've said it. But check out the stuff that I share over there, because I might not be sharing it for the reason you think I'm sharing it. And that's all I'm going to say on that. I don't want to give you guys a framework like the media does. I just want to lay some things out for you, and how you put it together or frame it is totally up to you, right? Oh, okay. So here's what's in this book. Part 1, the problem, know your enemy. First, read here before reading the solution. The Christos and unclean spirits. That's what we are dealing with here, is unclean spirits. And I mentioned that a little bit yesterday. And they put off a very foul smell, foul odor. You've seen it in movies like The Exorcist. That would have been considered to have started like a unclean spirit. Okay. Identification of the alien parasite in yourself and others. How do the alien parasites begin their attacks on humanity? Gnosticism. What does the term alien parasite mean? How do alien parasites control their hosts? We're going to have to look at that. And what does the black eye have to do with this? I don't know if it's a club, but everybody has to, make a video. If I had a black eye, the last thing I'd want to do is have my picture taken. But these people posted, even the preacher, Paul Washer, who I thought was really godly. He admits in his testimony he used to be a big liar. So what's going on there? What's happening? And why is it so many visible people, right? It seems to only go to, have I ever seen it happen to somebody? I mean, my family has, we played sports and stuff, so we've gotten bumps and bruises, but not the kind that you see, on video on YouTube. Even JoJo Siwa joined the Black Eye Club. She was at Disney and got one, but hers really didn't, it kind of looked like she was just fake. I don't know. That girl's weird. And I'm weird, so for me to say that. How do alien parasites control their hosts? We got to look at that. The explanation of the Gnostic galaxy. Now, this is really cool. And again, I just want to give you guys a little taste of this. If you like it, if you enjoy it, if you want to hear more, you need to leave comments. Nobody's commenting anymore, so it's making me feel like there's something wrong with the channel in the back end. It's nothing I'm doing. Even links are allowed to be posted. So, if you guys want to check out more or hear more. Oh, Yvette, there it goes. Hi, guys. Sorry about that. Everything is in the mind. Yes, exactly. Ephesians, yep. 6:11 through 13, absolutely. Or you can listen to your moral conscience, the Holy Ghost. Amen. They begin there by attacking, trying to get you to turn away. Yes, yes. Obey and become one with. Oh, you guys are awesome. Look at these comments. I'm sorry I couldn't see them. I never turn them off. That's not me. And again, if you understand the verbiage that I use and you like the content, please like the video because that lets me know, that you want to see more of this. Okay, so what should we look at first then? Now, these are all the parts of the Gnostic galaxy under that. The pleroma. The pleroma is like where the creator maker dwells, okay? And that is where everything springs forth. The pleroma, it might be a new age way to say the source. It is where God dwells, but it's more than that. It is God, but it's also where he dwells. So the aeons, that is like powers and principalities in the Bible. I believe, if I understand properly, Christos, we know who he is. And of course, now the Gnostic belief is that everyone can achieve what Christ achieved. This is controversial. I'm going to say right now, I do believe Christ is the Messiah, okay? However, at the same time, I do believe he left us a commission that I've not seen personally or in the media, any other person, even the saints. I have doubts about some saints, and I'll get to that another day. Geez, I lost my frame of thought there for a second. I apologize. The city of the living God is within you. Yes, yes. I believe that everybody is supposed to achieve what Christ achieved, right? And sadly, I'm going to say something here, and I'm probably going to lose some of you. And please trust me, I don't judge you. This is for my personal walk. This is what I'm doing now. You don't have to do it, but this is what I'm doing. I'm not partaking of animals, at least not on the regular. There are sometimes I feel really low and low energy, and I will try to eat a little meat, and I can't get it down anymore. And it doesn't taste right. It used to be pleasing to me, and now it's just not. I'm not going to go any further into it. What you put into your temple, that is completely up to you. And I'm not judging you or condemning you. I'm saying for me on my walk, I know that to get where he got, I have to fast. I have to fast from a lot of things, right? And one of those things for me is eating live animals that have a face, right? That have an image. I just can't do it anymore. And again, that's not me judging you. But I just want to say, I believe if you look at Da Vinci's Last Supper, you don't see any food on the table other than bread. That's all you see there. We have to start looking at these symbols and signs that are being shown to us because, again, they're being given to us by these quote-unquote experts in the wrong framework. They're changing their creation, yes, just like the days of Noe. So you're probably not eating real meat. That's one of the reasons. God told me before CV started, when he started calling me back and all this radical stuff started happening in my life, he said, to my mind, to my heart, stop. Like I was cooking, I was like getting ready to prepare bacon or something. And it was clear as day in my head. It was just stop. Don't eat the meat. And I was like, oh, what's wrong with it? And I couldn't figure out, like, is it me? Is it the meat? Or is nobody allowed to eat meat? Like, what's the deal with this? James the Just. There's a big controversy. If you're a Christian or if you know scripture at all, I have the ecclesiastical history book right there in front of me. There's a big controversy about James, the brother of Christ, that says he did not partake of animal flesh. Never. And neither did Mary. And that's why her womb was consecrated, because she never ate death. Those who never partake of death shall live eternally. I don't know the verse number right now. Again, I try not to beat people over the head with scripture in that way. I don't think it's effective. And it wasn't effective for me when people would say, well, the Bible says this, the Bible says that. I just string it into my conversation, right? Even my son, the last good conversation we had probably a year ago now, I said, I was finding out he was an atheist, and my son was not an atheist. Like, we had talked about God a lot, and we were very close at one time. But now he's an atheist. And I said, well, you know about the golden rule, right? What do you think of that? And he's like, well, yeah, I think we should treat other people how we would want to be, and he was very moral and upright about it. And I said, well, that came from Christ. That's the Sermon on the Mount. Mary had a pure heart and mind. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, her mind and heart were pure. But our temple, now you know this from the Ten Commandments. We're not supposed to just be fornicating with anybody, because why? If our bodies did not matter, right? Like some fundamentalist Protestants want us to believe. And again, I'm not picking on you. We all have our error, right? And the problem is like, I'm blind to my own error, but you can point it out to me. That's the importance of fellowship. We all have a blind spot. And that's why we're supposed to be in fellowship with each other and care for each other and say, hey, and you don't do it in front of people. You don't expose people in videos. You have a conversation with them privately and say, hey, I had this problem once and this is what I did about it. If you notice that they're struggling with addiction or addiction, again, that's another one. That is something you're putting into your physical body. If our bodies did not matter, then we could just do whatever with them. But we are clearly told, do not commit adultery. Do not fornicate before marriage. Do not do all these things. Absolutely, we are the temple of God, of the Holy Spirit. So we have to be upright, right? Now, I have my own beliefs at this point. Again, I'm open to change. I may change my mind tomorrow if God presents me with more information or enlightenment or some revelation of some kind. But as of right now, I don't think anybody should be partaking of the meat that they sell us, because I don't believe that's what they say it is. And if you want to know why, ask yourself where all the missing people go. You should be horrified. That should horrify people. But we're more concerned with whether we're calling this one a he or a she or me, an I or an am. What? What? We should be ashamed. And again, I'm not trying to condemn you guys. I'm in the same boat, right? This is me trying to repent and turn around and do things a better way. And again, you're at a different part in your walk than I am. I've been through the ringer several times, and I'm tired of beating my head against a brick wall. So that would make you a witness to God if you're at the altar. Absolutely. Yep. The Bible is very clear, though, that the two witnesses also are two people, because it has a very clear description of what occurs to them. So again, each verse does have a deeper, it has an esoteric meaning, right? A material meaning, a physical manifestational meaning, and a spiritual, a hidden meaning, right? It's like the Trinity. Each verse in scripture or ancient text anywhere has three different applications. You could apply it literally, you could apply it spiritually, or you could apply it like mentally to some type of timeline deal. And again, this is why time is not what people think it is. All right, so where do you want to start? What of this do you guys know and are you aware of? Now, this is all, again, this is huge. This is a lot of information. Part 2, they get into the solution, how to protect yourself, how to strengthen your mind. But first, I just want you to know what is real. I almost just want to bounce around, but I know that's not good for other people to do. The Nag Hammadi Library and the Roman Catholic Church. Again, I have that as a bookmark, the Gnostic Library, the Nag Hammadi Library. There is so much out there, guys. So much. And all of it, is the same thing. I agree with you. We are all witness to him. But read the rest of the verse. It clearly says that the two witnesses die, that the beast defeats them. So it's an actual event that occurs or did occur. Okay? So, I know there are New Age applications. I know there are spiritual meanings and esoteric hidden meanings, right? But I'm telling you that that's an actual event that occurs too, because it tells you what happens to those two beings. I believe I'm a witness. At my judgment, I believe I have to witness to myself, right? If I can forgive myself. Self-forgiveness is a big problem we have to attack. And God is my other witness, right? Or Christ. But in the material application, in the timeline application, that's an actual event that occurs because it tells you how those two people die. You can't die if you're a spirit. Yes, you will lay down your life for Christ and deny the mark of the beast. You? You're saying you like it's me. Do you want me to find it? I'll go find it right now if you want to find it. I mean, I can. It's not a big deal, I guess. Can I do a search? Which one is it? Revelation what? What did you say? Oh, they're not going to let me see your message, are they? Dang it. Why does it do that? Okay, so Revelation. What? Don't do this. Uh-oh, there you are. Read it. You're a saint of God. Oh, I read it all the time. I hope... Please don't call me a saint. I don't... Like, I'm so wretched. Please. Just don't call me that. Can you just... Why is it doing this? Alright, you know what? I'll just do the flippin' search. Which one is it? There we go. I want the Catholic Bible because it actually... You're missing part of the story when you just go to the KJV. And I know people don't want me to say that. I know they love the KJV. But there's a reason people are being cursed by reading it. There's a reason that's happening, and it's because the books were removed. The Protestants ripped apart the books when they created the schism in the original church. Because it was one church. We used to be one church. You're saying if he bears witness to you and you bear witness to him. Okay, I mean, I get it. Okay, so, ooh. The two witnesses are the true prophetic witness in Revelation, and they serve as the counterpart to the false prophetic witness, the beast from the land who has two horns like a lamb. The beast who has two horns like a lamb. Now, that could be literal. Like, we could look at that as, like, the literal being that everybody's sacrificing people to in these national and state parks. And again, that's not the only thing happening. There's a lot going on here. People are the resource, guys. Like, in case you haven't noticed that yet, we are the resource. Okay? and it all comes down to us. And, like, people don't want to see that. And that's, you know, they don't give you the materialism just to corrupt you. It's to make you not see what they're doing to you. It is, you know, everything they do has multiple purposes, right? Everything they do to me, like the minute I stop being valuable to them and I become more of a liability, that's it. You're done. Now, you know, we have God's protection. You know, I'm not denying any of that. I'm just saying we have to understand how our enemy is operating and thinking. Okay. The most popular choices are Elijah and Moses, and I totally disagree with all that, and I'm not going to get with why. To you, Satan will make war with the saints, who are the two witnesses in the little season. You think it's all... Okay, so you think... That's interesting. You think the two witnesses are just all the saints. But there's two. That's specifying, like, two specific groups. So for me, I would have to say, then, that would be, like, Catholics and Muslims. Or something, you know, somebody in Muslims, because it's not going to be two of the same groups. It's not going to be two Christian groups, right? So I would have to say that. But I don't think it's groups. I don't know. I've talked about this at length. I've given the prophetic warnings and stuff God gave me. So that's kind of where I am with that. But it does say they lay down their life for God. It is appointed for man to die once. They base this opinion. See, and that's the thing, though. Enoch was translated up. Moses' body was fought for. Our bodies do matter. Mary was translated up, a.k.a. raptured, is how the Catholic Bible describes Mary's death. Her body disappeared. Death is not an end, guys. And what if her body disappeared? They just couldn't see it anymore. What if they are all still here with us? We're just not light enough to see them. Which is another reason to fast. Make yourself physically, mentally, vibrationally lighter, higher. And yes, I'm going to say right now, don't try to do that with substances that are created by man. However, if you want to go to, like, an artisan site like Etsy and get yourself some tea with blue lotus in it, or ashwagandha, some elderberry, some chamomile. All these things will help you lucid dream, have control even when you're unconscious, and they will help you be calm enough to sit and learn how to meditate. Now, the rosary is how a lot of Catholics learn how to meditate. When you are told by some guru to empty your mind, that is the last thing you should be doing when you meditate. Meditation is when you ponder on something. Your flesh and blood candlestick, your spirit. Yes, but they're actually two people too. They are two people because they die. It says the beast defeats them and their bodies lie in the streets, and that everybody else sends each other gifts. They have a party when these two people die, which is funny because I've always said that. Man, when I die, my stepdad, my half-siblings, as they call themselves, they'll all throw a party. I don't know why. Like, I've always done whatever I could to help everybody, so I honestly don't know why that's the the general feeling. It's very weird when you start seeing your own life mimic things that you've read. It's surreal. So I would ask, that everybody have a little patience and compassion when dealing with me, because this has been a very hard walk for me, and I'm trying to do my best to give somebody a takeaway. So here's the problem. Let's look at the problem, should we? How long is it? Many of you have felt or intuited that these alien parasites exist. Many, like when you're in your house even, or you're taking a walk and the hairs on your back of your neck stand up, that is your body, that is your spirit letting your body know, or your body letting your spirit know, letting your mind know that something is coming, that you might be in danger. It is a primal instinct that has been beaten out of us, washed out of us. They cut our hair, which is a spiritual, thing. A lot of us had that done to us. And that, that's what they do with slaves. That's what the Bible says, they shave the head of their slaves. That's what they made the Native Americans do when they were, the Navajos and the Iroquois and the Lakotas and the Crows, when they wanted them to be more, quote unquote, civilized. It was all good for us to learn from them, but we had to force them into, man, we've got to stop. Work on you, work on yourself, and stop pointing outward. If you're listening to this and you're one of those people constantly pointing, change what you can about yourself. There are times now I physically have to shake myself and remind myself I'm not who I used to be. I'm not going to let this irritate me. I'm not going to let this bother me. It's small in the grand scheme of things, right? There's a reason I'm in the situation I'm in. I have to be accountable for the choices that I've made. And I'm trying to encourage other people to do that as well. Because I've been down that road and it doesn't lead you to a good place. When they say that our enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, they are not kidding. And ask yourself why destroy is after kill. Kill the body, destroy the soul. Our bodies matter. They are temples. Be very careful in this time what you put into it. Pray over all your food. Being thankful, say a word of grace, meaning be grateful, right? Ask that the Father in heaven bless your meal. Some of you may be aware, though, reading various books or through direct experience, that a parasite lives inside your mind. My task is to convince those of you who doubt the existence of alien parasites that they do exist. My task is to free you and protect you from them. In any battle, it's essential to know your enemy unless you want to underestimate the danger these alien parasites pose, unless you want to live life as a slave, unless you want your soul eaten away completely. I can testify that this is true. There is no other reason for these people to want me here still and to try and keep me here other than to torment me. Literally, to feed off of any negative energy that produces when they bait me. And I come on here and I expose it, and I believe that takes away its power. And again, I don't give people's names. I'm not going to do that because I don't believe it's operating that way. I don't think some of the people even know. Because if that were the case, okay, my whole town gets together and conspires against me when I'm asleep or something. I'm not that, no, that's narcissistic, and no. I think this is something we all deal with at different parts in our lives, But if we don't face it and we don't kind of root it out of us, it can destroy you. Through alcohol, through drugs, just through anger, through bitterness, through rage, through unforgiveness. The best place to change what's happening out there is to change you. The best thing you can do about everything that you're seeing happening is turn off the media. Do not pay them with your attention. That is what they want. That is the goal. One of the goals. Again, we are resources. If we cannot provide some source of entertainment, some resource, some skill of value, even when we die, they collect life insurance. That should be illegal. That would solve like over half of the murders, I'm convinced, that occur all the time. Everybody you see on Dateline, like they wouldn't even have a show if they got rid of life insurance. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. Insure my life. I got God, man. Like, what do you want? No. And fine, lay me in the forest, man, if I die near you or something. Don't put me in the ground. Like, I'm not doing that. I can just lay there until whatever happens, happens, or God raises me up. But don't put me in the dirt. And I don't believe they put everybody in the dirt. I believe these things that use our bodies, and they call them containers. You cannot think like them. You have to understand that your body is just as important in this as your mind and your soul. Your inward Trinity. That's how I know the Trinity is real, because I can look at myself and say, hey, I got one of those too. Yeah, that's a thing outside of myself. Yeah, that makes sense. Everything ripples outwards. You see the patterns repeat themselves in the spiral that is time. There's a slave. First, read here. Okay, so we should read this, but we'll just go through it quick. It's pretty self-explanatory. First, let me tell you that you are welcome to go to the second part of this book entitled The Solution if you feel that you are under attack by alien parasites and the situation has risen to the level of an emergency. However, I warn you that you will find several terms that are unfamiliar to you in the second part of the book. Therefore, if you feel that you must immediately go to the second section, by all means do so. But then come back here. A lot of people don't know they have alien parasites. The day of Jacob's trouble, will he still leave? You're Jacob. Season there will be an alien invasion. Everybody's caught on to that, though. Like, people are kind of hip to the alien invasion thing. I'm not sure that that's going to happen the way people think it's going to happen. They also know that a lot of us believe in the Bible. I don't think they care if we think they're fallen angels or aliens. And that's kind of what bothers me about all this, is how popular the fallen angels and the Book of Enoch has become. When something trends like that, what do I say? Run the other way. So right now, I'm just going to be mindful and watchful on that situation. I'm not sure how I feel about all that right now. You know, I don't like that it's went mainstream. There's something not good about that when that happens. So a lot of people don't know they are under attack. Alien parasites project themselves into human beings. Now, you could go on a hunt on another rabbit hole for the vril. They say that's what causes the black eyes. They say it's a Russian alien parasite. And I will tell you, and I've read it to you, the book, the Essene Gospel of Peace, allegedly Christ's own words. He refers to Satan as a worm parasite. And he tells you that to clean your body out, that to get the attention of the angels, he says that the angel of the air, angel of the water, angel of the light, angel of the earth will come and tend to you and cleanse you, your spirit and your body completely. But you have to fast first, and your body has to be empty, meaning you cannot have anything in your belly, and you should use the potty before you fast. And I'm just being real here. If you want a fast track or a shortcut to spiritual ascension and to upgrading your mentality, the best way to do that is fasting. I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. I will also say that there is information out there that says once you fast for 72 hours, your body, quote unquote, resets. Isn't it funny how these words are everywhere? Everywhere. What are you doing, Sammy? Was she picking on you? Oh, don't be upset. It's hot out there. You don't want to go out there right now. Let her hide if she wants to hide. Okay, so, oh, here we go. They insert into the human host. They are not physically allowed on planet Earth. Alien parasites attack the human mind by implantation of ideas. Then they insert into the human host various thoughts like, your life is nothing but an illusion. I've created reality for you. Your past never existed. All your past memories are implants. That's weird because a lot of us actually talk about stuff like this. Okay, so I have a parasite? Is that what it's saying? I still have demons to get rid of? That's great. They make their victims, usually referred to as hosts, think the whole world is a kind of lie, a simulation. People finally become nothing more than empty shells, the walking dead, in service to these alien parasites. They want everybody to be hopeless. They want you to think it's a simulation. I like to prefer to think of it as it's a training ground. God placed us here and it's our training, and we're supposed to advance. So there are two sides to this coin. There is truth in what they're saying here. The world is a type of illusion. And Gnostics actually know this. So this makes me curious about the writer here. Because Gnosticism, like, they know this. And I'm not down with the commercialized Gnosticism that they're showing. I do believe there's a lot of truth in the Gnostic Gospels. If you haven't read them, please don't argue with me about how they're non-canon and they're lies. Like, if you've not read them, you can't say they're lies. You don't know that. Okay? We do have to trust our insides and what resonates inside, because the truth will ring like a bell, so it will resonate with you when you hear the truth. Okay? Part of this is true, part of this is not true. Life really is an illusion in part. We know that none of these material things, meaning cars, clothes, shoes, jewelry, tech, none of it really matters. That it is our relationship with each other. It is our relationship with the environment and the animals. And we're supposed to be here in service, tending to the garden that is the earth, that is Eden, right? But we forgot. We like our toys. We don't want to be gardeners. We don't want to tend anything. You know what's funny, though? When you're acting in the purpose that you were created for, you have a sense of contentment and joy. And I don't mean happiness where you're bubbling and you're manic. I mean contentment and joy within. That no matter what anyone says or does, it's not going to bother you. Okay, so part of this here is a deception, and I don't like that. When I disagree with something in a reading or a book, I am going to tell you. However, I'm not going to throw the whole book out or all of the information just because I disagree with somebody. I'm going to be open enough to say, okay, I know there's truth in here. I've already read some of it, so I'm going to show that to you too. But I'm definitely going to tell you when I think somebody's trying to pull one over on us. It's just who I am. I have to be really aligned with truth at this time. When I was younger, I couldn't even tell a lie. I was so bad at it. But then with like substances and stuff, I've fallen a few times and made really bad decisions and done really stupid things that are completely out of my genuine character and nature. And there is no forgiveness. Usually you hear there's like these 12 steps and people get forgiven. I didn't even do the 12 steps. I'm just doing prayer. No, they didn't want to hear that. I actually told a loved one, I said, I wasn't able to do this before. I didn't have God. I didn't know, God loved me. And she looked at me and said, don't fool yourself. People only do stuff for themselves. They don't do it for their families or for anyone else but themselves. That's what I've gotten through my recovery. And again, I don't tell you these things because I want your pity. Because pity is like one of the worst things you can do for somebody. It does not help at all. It's not about that. It's about, number one, saying if you're going through this too, because I know I'm not alone. I've read so many stories online that are so similar to mine, that women suddenly that were just basically tossed aside. And I'm trying to tell you what's going on. And if you don't want to hear me, that's not my fault. Go to the Reddit DNA subreddit. All you hear are horror stories about how people have found out they're not really with their real family, and everywhere. People are finding out that their family is not their family. What is happening? It really does feel like we were some kind of experiment for some type of social experiment, our whole society. Because the nuclear family, that's new, guys. We used to live in tribes. Tribes were a family. So like my whole, quote unquote, my whole family with my surname We would all live in our own community. The women would pretty much live with the women. The men would live with the men. You'd get together for the meals, right? And nighttime, sleeping or whatever. But other than that, it was, and it was good. It was good. And people look at homeless people now and they degrade them and demean them, and they don't understand that they are so much more free than any of us. They were able to walk away and say, I'm done. Because they know you're going to get a reward for it. We are eternal beings. That's why every choice we make is important. It matters to some degree. The Christos, from the Greek meaning anointed, spent a lot of his time while on earth healing people. I refer specifically to the fact that he spent a lot of time casting out what the Bible calls unclean spirits. Guys, they're everywhere now. Unclean spirits and familiar spirits. If you feel like you're being washed, pray in every room. Bless the house if you can. Get yourself some, if all you have is virgin olive oil, right? Fast for a couple of days and then pray over the oil and bless it. And then bless the rooms in your house with it. And the doorways, above the doorways. I know this because I did it and it helped. All these things that I've done have helped push these people and the spirits attached to them. It's helped push them away. These unclean spirits were alien parasites. Mark's gospel is replete with examples of this aspect of the Christos healing ministry. Christos. I don't want to make fun. I'm trying to say it right. Christos. In Christianity, there is talk about good angels and evil angels. In Islam, the pious and evil jinn. In Buddhism and other religions, beneficent spirits and malevolent spirits. Alien parasites have been attacking humanity since human first walked on the planet. This is key, guys. This is what I try to do on the channel, is pick at the thread of commonality. We all need to understand we have a common enemy, and it dwells in the darkness. And we can fight it together and will be that much more effective. And that's why I don't like demean Buddhists and I don't demean other religions and say, oh, their God is not the real God. We have to separate the culture from the religion. Just because a book is in another language does not mean they're worshiping another God. Like, I don't know how I can say this over and over and over again. I still have a bone to pick with Father Ripperger about one of the agreement renouncements in his prayer book that I bought, because he says to revoke and rescind and denounce Adonai, and that's just the Greek word for God. So no, I didn't say that prayer. Like, everybody's so quick to point to each other and not see the double-mindedness in their own minds and hearts, and that's what we have to see. That is this, if you want to call it parasitic, I don't prefer the word alien. It is spirit, it is unclean spirit, but I also think that it can affect the physical. I've seen it. That's what people don't understand, is these things, they may be on different frequencies, but if you lower your frequency and you get on the same one as them, they can physically interact with you. It's a physical thing. So when we're saying spirit, we have to be very careful. Spirit is just as real as anything else. And we all have a common enemy. It's almost impossible for a person with an advanced condition of alien parasitic intrusion to recognize that they are under the control of a parasite. Oy vey, I have family like this, I think. But who am I to... I don't know. I think we all have issues. However, if your case is not too advanced, here are several ways you can realize that your mind has been invaded by an alien parasite. Feelings of insignificance, meaninglessness, lack of emotion, indifference, feelings of disassociation, overwhelmed with irrational fears. That's a big one. Like, I was like that in the beginning when this thing started interacting with me through different people. Like, I knew it was the same spirit, but it was bouncing from person to person, and I saw the black eye thing. Like, it was overwhelming. But there was nothing that got me the fear of God quicker, right? Because I was like, oh my God, this stuff is real. And then I was like, oh my God, help me, right? So, yeah. That's why I do this. And it's not fun to be like some subjective, antagonistic revenge and torment all the time. I did offer myself up to God, but that doesn't mean like I consent to just anyone harming me. That's not what that meant when I told God. I told God, right? I didn't tell man to do whatever. So there, again, balance. Let's see. Passionate hatred of people from another country. Oh, I know people I can't stand it. People of race, religion, or culture desire to kill or see killed people from another nation and so on. Somebody actually asked me that. I said, oh my gosh, such and such happened. And I don't remember what it was because it was like a year ago now. And the person replied to me and said, how many people died? If that doesn't shock you, you should go examine your own mind and heart. These things I tell people, they should shock you. They should terrorize you about the missing people and the food and the black, all of it. These things need taken care of, and nobody is tending to any of it because everybody's worried about the economy. That's fake. Like, if you want to talk about an illusion, the economy is not real. You can put value on a flippin' seashell, and I can say, this is worth to me 2 pounds of gold, and you can't tell me no different because I put the value on it and it's mine. And I love it because of whatever. So to me, that's worth more than your bar of gold. Do you see what I'm saying? They've wrapped us into this shit thinking that it matters. And now we have no skills, right? Well, how am I going to get my food? I got to have a job to pay for food. Guess what? You don't got to eat 3 times a day. I don't know who told us that, but it's not true. Like, you're not going to die. You're just not. You don't have to eat that much. Now, if you're like a big man and you're working on a railroad or you're a farmer, that's a little different. But if you're working in an office behind a computer like most people today, or you're not running or lifting or any labor at your job, you don't need 3 meals a day. They're getting us into every sin they can. Materialism. All right, lust leads to all this. Lust, the greed, the envy. It all starts with lust. A lust for power, a lust for money, a lust for more, a lust for women, a lust for men, a lust for substance. Right? And that leads us into gluttony and materialism. And then that's not enough. So that could lead us into worse sins like adultery. Perversion comes next. It's a slippery slope, guys. Examine yourself. And again, I'm not judging any one person. I'm just saying, these things happen. I've seen them happen. I've experienced some of them. Feeling of self-righteousness. That's one we all have to watch, I believe. If Lucifer was an angel and he was guilty of pride, then I'm always going to ask for God's forgiveness for my own pride. Because let's be real. We all have arrogance or some self-righteousness about our own perspective and our own point of view, and everybody, it seems, just wants to be right. We have to stop arguing to be right. We have to stop arguing. What do debates lead to? All these, big thinkers on television and on YouTube, even Jordan Peterson. All these, that's great to talk. But what are you doing with your hands, right? None of us can sustain ourselves anymore. We can't even grow food. It's my personal opinion that we have to walk away completely. Like, I totally believe there has to be like a mass exodus, but nobody's going to do it. And I think because of that, there are going to be a lot of people that perish. And that's my personal perspective. And it's what I believe God has revealed to me. And I've talked about it ad nauseum with everybody. And nobody, people just want to dislike your video, or they end the video, or they don't want you, or they unsub, instead of examining their hearts. Instead of, okay, I'm going to lay out the information this person give me. Can I apply this? Nah. All right, I'll get rid of it. Okay, can I apply this? Can I prove this to be true? Has this happened to me? Am I affected by this? Is my family affected by this? Okay, I can establish that this seems to be true by, word of mouth and personal experience and personal testimony. Think, guys. We got to start thinking again and doing again, because all this arguing and trying to convert people to Islam or Christianity, stop. Let's just work on our problems at this point. Let's stop telling each other what to do and examine our hearts and our minds and see what we got to do to have a better perspective. Because once one person starts that, this is why I'm feeding the algorithm these words, right? If the written word and if the videos and movies and if film has some type of effect on our reality, it's time we started feeding it the right things so that we produce good fruit. I hope this is hitting home with somebody, anybody, one person out there. There's probably nobody watching, and I'm not going to look. I don't want to see, because that'll just make me feel bad. Examples of severe alien attack. The belief that you are a rock or an inanimate object. Oh my God, shut up. I'm sorry, that's really extreme to me. Okay, an example of a severe alien attack. Your pet is you believe that your pet is controlling you. Hey now, cats have that parasite that can pass to humans, and I know some people that have cats that are acting mighty strange. That's all I'm going to say about that. That a famous pop singer or Hollywood star is in love with you, that's a big one, right? Because a lot of, and I do believe there have been targeted individuals throughout time. I think that, like, I mean, let's be real. If you were in the CIA and you didn't have the best morals or scruples, and one of your jobs was like, or the NSA or whatever, one of your jobs was monitoring like a certain section of a small town just because that was your job, right? Boring, nothing to do. If you had the ability to turn speakers off and on and to like mess with somebody a little bit, wouldn't you do it? You mean to tell me you think that's so rare that people haven't actually done that to other people? Edward Snowden told us, and it doesn't, I used to think, you had to be a big person for that to happen. But again, if you're a little person, nobody's going to care, so they can sit and mess with you and just have fun with you all they want, right? Because you're just going to sound crazy. We're falling into everything that they want people to believe. Most people are believing, and then identifying and thinking that like some political figure is going to save us. Hello? I did a video where Trump called himself Jesus. Like, wake up, guys. That's not good. If God wants to give us a leader or a ruler, you know what? Let him. But I'm not voting for the lesser of two evils. I'm not going to be responsible for that. And I'm not going to sign my name with some guy that I don't even know and say, okay, I'm in alignment with this dude for the next 4 years. That's like a marriage. That's like a marriage. That's what you do to get married to somebody. That's an agreement. That's a soul tie you are getting with a political figure. Do you think that's wise? This is why we have this mess today, is from things like that, and also things like blood over intent. There's something about these, when you bleed on camera or film or video, and it's real, right? It's not fabricated. Like if you cut your hand, your finger, I've seen several campers do it now. And after they did that, their channels got bigger. Why do you think that is? We are dealing with some really out there stuff because people are messing around with stuff they shouldn't be messing with. Remember when Trump was running the first time and all those witches did their spells against him? Yeah, those are bored housewives that don't even know the first thing about herbal, green kitchen witches. They know nothing. But they mess with stuff. That's exactly why they shouldn't be messing with it. They don't know what they're doing. Unable to control your tongue and finding yourself saying horrible things to people. I actually do that. I'm not going to lie. I still have, I say I don't have a filter. But the things that I say are true. Like we all have really declined mentally, spiritually, in a very short time. Something happened. And I'm trying to speak out about it because I love you and I care about people. I'm not trying to say horrible things. It's to shake people awake. Hey, why are you doing that? That's not cool. That's not healthy. That's not a well-balanced, mindset. Why are you thinking that way? And I'm never going to apologize for loving people and loving my family. And because of that, yes, I say things probably that are offensive to people. But they're true things that that we all need to, me and myself included, we all need to work on. Examples of a severe alien attack: that you're an inanimate object, that your pet is controlling you, that a famous pop singer or Hollywood star is in love with you. The belief that God is punishing you for your sins by causing your boyfriend to die in a car accident. That's an example. And now, again, this is Gnosis, all right? Or the belief that the news anchor is speaking directly to you from television. Actually, that's not far off either. Project Mockingbird actually started kind of like that. So again, please be careful with what you believe. Not everything written down or not everything online, not everything is true, okay? And I actually, it does rain on the just and unjust. Bad things happen to quote-unquote decent people all the time. But I'm sorry, some of what I've went through is the consequence for my sin. And I just have to be real about that. Because it goes against natural law. So this person writing about Gnosis, I don't think they know Gnosis, right? I don't think they have inner knowledge. They don't have Gnosis. They are pulling together, again, like people do today, pulling it together, scraps of information, and trying to monetize it, make money off of it. And they're just copying and pasting things other people have written. But again, there are some good bits here, so... They begin by invading the minds of individuals in government, military, medicine, finance, media, education, academia, secret societies, and religion. They give these individuals what is essentially a computer virus. Wow, we were just talking about that. From these foxholes, they launch their spiritual warfare against the general population and against specific individuals. Okay, so let's highlight that. Weren't you just telling me, though, that that's paranoid? That means you're under alien attack? If you think... again, people don't see their own double-mindedness. Often people who are reading about alien parasites do not want to understand how they can invade the earth when they are not even allowed to physically be present on the planet. Yet these same people do not wonder how Wi-Fi can bring an ultra-high-definition image of the president into their living rooms. Those individuals who study science know that through quantum entanglement, it is possible to send entangled encryption keys from a satellite to an Earth-based receiving station. I feel like this is misdirection right there. I'm going to skip this chapter because I don't like that. I don't think this person understands Gnosis. However, to truly understand Gnosticism, one must travel back in time before the time of Christ, Jesus, before the Egyptians, before the pre-Hispanic cultures, all them, before the two incredibly ancient sites in Turkey. Even before the vast continent that existed in the Pacific known as Lemuria, as well as the great civilizations that existed in Antarctica and Africa, all the way back to the very foundations of the world. The term Gnostic comes from the Greek gnosis. Gnosis is direct spiritual knowledge. So today, when people like me, us smaller YouTubers, when we talk about having some type of upload or download of information, like pretty much directly to our temple, to our brain, to our mind, to our spirit, this is what we're talking about. This is why I believe in Gnosis, because it's real. And again, it just means knowledge. It doesn't mean that I am a Gnostic. Don't get me wrong. Some of their stuff is just too, I don't know, should I say too extreme for me? Too far outside of my own framework and paradigm of understanding right now. I'll say that. Maybe in the future I'll relate to some of it more. But right now, I really like some of the Gnostic beliefs that are true, and I really resonate with Rosicrucianism and the Essenes and the Nazarenes, all of the ones that are like pre-Christ, because I believe that's what he was following. He was following one of those templates, and then we just called it Christianity because he was the one who did it best. He walked it out in front of people, and he had a testimony, right? And he was the Messiah. But I'm just saying, I think we're all expected to do that to a point. We're all expected to become Christ, become the Christos, become our own Savior in a way, okay? The people who think you don't have to do any work, those are the ones that are deceived, and Christ is going to say, I didn't know you. Because you think it's just churchy church. You go to church on Sunday, you give tithing, and you think that's it, you're good. I'm not saying you're not a decent person or a decent neighbor or a decent parent. I'm just saying at the spiritual walk, you're still in the beginner stage. I want to be advanced, right? Like, that's the track I want to be on. And I really relate with the Hopi and what they say about technology. So again, I don't put myself in a box. I'd appreciate it if my viewers didn't either. And you probably shouldn't. Because too many labels now, they are also causing what I believe is spiritual bondage. And again, this is just something that is making everybody's personal frequency lower. The best thing you can do, think of an air balloon, hot air balloon, right? If anyone's ever seen one, I haven't seen one in forever, but if you see a hot air balloon, you know that they have like sandbags on the side. And then if you want to go up in the air, you got to drop those. They're weights, right? Think of your attachments like that, your materialistic attachments or demonic attachments. Every time you drop one of them, it's like dropping a sandbag, and you get lighter and you will go up in frequency. Then those things cannot attach to you anymore because you are literally walking on top of them. See what I mean? We have to try and simplify things as much as possible, because there's just, everybody wants to sound smart and use all these big, words, and all they're really doing is creating word salad. There's a difference to having an articulate vocabulary and delivering it in an eloquent, understandable, concise manner. And again, we're just seeing people who just, and I'm guilty of it. Like, we're all guilty of it. You want to wave your degree in the sky. You want to go get another degree because, you feel like people will listen to you more if you have another one. And then you're further in debt, right? We all do these things, all of us. I'm just trying to tell you that you're not alone. And we can fight this stuff. You can literally rise above it. Now, I'm skipping a bit because I don't want this to be much longer. Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for being here. The mature and wise individual always is willing to listen to an opposing opinion and actually is eager to hear the opposing point of view in order to make sure his or her theories and beliefs can withstand opposing ideas and to revise his or her ideas if necessary. That's where debating comes in handy, right? That is where you can actually, you're iron and iron, right? You're refining each other. But that's not the case with the debates we're seeing, right? These adults, they are set in their ways. They're not looking for solution. They need to start applying all these big people that have some say, that have a little sway with whoever controls everything. We need to start applying solutions. And none of them include just getting rid of people, because everybody is valuable just for the fact that they are made, and they are made in the image of God. Even people who seem like they are shut off and closed off and dead inside. NPCs. We all behave like that from one time to another. We all fall back into it sometimes with our repetitive behaviors, our daily routines. Sometimes I know people that say they drove to work and they don't even remember driving. That would scare me. I don't want to be on the road with people like that. There are many reasons that I do not drive. We've got to start being consciously aware of our actions and our words and our thoughts, and trying to ensure that those things are in alignment. The more things you get in alignment with yourself, the less these things can bother you, torment you, attach to you, affect you. Gnostics call these Archons parasites because they, in essence, live inside the minds of human beings. They steal psychic and life energy from human beings as they slowly devour their hosts. They're aliens because they're not indigenous to this planet. Archons existed before there were human beings on this planet. Alien parasites serve people lies and install false realities while they are feeding off these people. Almost everyone has experienced nightmares, and some people have experienced a type of dream far worse and far more dramatic. These dreams can be extremely vivid, but as soon as the person wakes up, he or she realizes that it was just a dream. What makes dreams so fascinating to this discussion is that when a person is dreaming, he or she believes that the dream is real. When the person wakes up, he or she realizes that the dream was only a subconscious simulation that tricked him or her into believing it was real. The pounding heart and sweating brow of the person who just had a nightmare attest to how real the nightmare was for him or her during the dream experience. This demonstrates at a simple level that you can and do believe in reality simulations generated by your own mind, at least while you are asleep. This leads to the inescapable conclusion that you are vulnerable to other types of reality simulations. Of course, everything you experience, everything whether you call it normal waking consciousness, deep sleep, meditation, or drug-induced perception is real. However, some realities lack integral congruence. They lack an alignment with the attributes of the nature of the absolute. And this is what we're seeing today. So many people are not in agreement. So many people are out of alignment. So many people are going against natural law that it is interfering with the process. There needs to be justice. And by that I mean something that sets this to rights, right? There's a debt to be paid. There are lots of debts to be paid. The problem is that there are innocent people who didn't have anything to do with any of this, who again are probably going to have to deal with the fallout. You're seeing it happen now. If you think America's not in judgment, I don't know where you're at. We are under judgment. And I could say it's all on TV and all in the media, and I could turn the screen off, but it's out there. You can see these patterns reflected in the people around you. I don't know why these things repeat like that. The red hair, the biracial couple, the black and white checkerboard of the Masons. That's all a Masonic thing that's happening. And this is why I believe that people who are actual, like the secret society of Masons, I don't think that they're of mankind. Maybe they were once, but they're not anymore. You can't want to harm your fellow man this badly and still retain your humanity. There's no way. No way. And if you don't have compassion for these homeless people, there's something wrong with you, not them. This self-righteousness has to go. This judgment upon everybody else has to go. All these things have to go. Because these things will attach to you. Gnostic preached that there was an invasion that occurred about 3600 BC and about 1600 years before the Nag Hammadi texts were buried. They wrote, I know, why are all the books buried? We should be asking that question. Why are all these books buried? They wrote that this invasion was like a virus, and in fact, they were hard-pressed to describe it. The beings that were invading were called Archons. These Archons had the ability to duplicate reality, to fool us. Now, didn't he just say if you believe this, then you have an attachment? Or did it just... I'm confused. Whatever. They were jealous of us because we have an essence of some kind, a soul. And I wish the young ones would realize this. Why do you think there is so much struggle? Why do you think there's so much struggle happening? Why do you think they want certain experts? Why do you think it is an agenda that people ruin their own personal temples? That they butcher them, that they, why do you think all this is happening? It's an anti-human, anti-life, anti-God, anti-Christ spirit, and it's legion because it can talk to me from this person and it can talk to you and another person 20 miles away. Now, granted, it's not like God. It's going to end up being the same. It's going to be robotic and it's weird to deal with. I've dealt with it more than I care to admit. And I've told you why and all this. And again, it doesn't even bother me. Like, these things that are occurring, it's like... I know that personally I've done a lot of fasting, a lot of repenting, a lot of praying, a lot of meditating, a lot of self-inner work, telling myself, okay, this is a problem that you have in dealing with other people. You have to adjust this, you have to change this, or you have to get rid of this, right? And so I've done a lot of that when I go quiet, when I'm not online, when I'm just sitting in my room, not doing anything other than I look like I'm just sitting here. I've done a lot of reflecting. So again, if anyone tells you to meditate and empty your mind, that's not true. And if you do that, it's dangerous because that's when other entities can come and, you don't do stuff like that. When you meditate on a specific question you have about your life. Or you meditate on the beauty and the greatness of the creation that the Creator and Maker gave us, right? Pick a specific thing and meditate on that. And watch how things unfold for you and the mysteries unfold for you. Because you're asking to receive, right? In prayer, you're asking to receive. In meditation, you're open to that receiving. You're quiet. You're not talking anymore. You're listening. You are the receiver in meditation. In prayer, you're the sender. Meditation, you're the receiver. Be mindful of what you're open to receiving. Again, negative ideas, negative thoughts, anti-human, anti-family, anti-Christian, right? Because I don't care personally if you're Christian, but the Antichrist attitude is anti-life, is anti-love, right? It's the same thing. So when I say that, that's what I mean. Anti-demonic. These Archons had the ability to duplicate reality. Ugh. Oh, well, they were jealous of us because we have a soul that they don't possess, and the Nag Hammadi text describe the Archons. One looks like a reptile, and the other looks like an unformed baby or fetus. Yeah, it's a worm, guys. Parasite, aka worm. It is literally a worm. That's why you're seeing all this talk of worm. And now, for whatever reason, 2 videos in my feed, completely unrelated. One's a small channel about a song this dude released, and I'm not even going to say his name because He's gotten weird. And a government video, both talking about cockroaches. So I don't know what kind of, like, first it was rat, and then bat, and then cat, and now cockroaches. I don't know what's going on here. Anyways, let's continue. It is partially living and partially non-living and has the gray skin and dark, unmoving eyes. The Archons are duplicating reality so that when we buy into it, when we come to believe that the duplicated false state reality is real reality, then they become the victors. Oy vey. So which is the real one? How do you get out of the false one? Paul Shen, a journalist for the Canadian newspaper, adds the following. By understanding what it means to be human according to ancient Gnostics, manipulative extraterrestrials became revealed. Manipulative extraterrestrials seek to confuse a critical appreciation among human beings of their essence as intelligent sentient beings. However, if one can appreciate the essence of what it means to be human, manipulative extraterrestrials are revealed by subtracting that essence from an alien shadow that seeks to occupy the same time-space with the human essence. AKA the verse, the Antichrist will sit in the temple calling himself God. That is an intruder sitting in the temple, which is your body, in your mind, calling itself God. How many pastors are doing that now? How many people are trying to get other people to say, I am the maker? I'm not the maker, but they're trying to get people to say that. And I'm not going to say the actual thing because, again, I showed you the clip from the movie The Fourth Kind, and I think that was a warning to us of what can happen. Severe things can occur when you lie into natural will, especially in such a defamatory way about the maker. So anyway, let's continue. The alien shadow can be compared to a parasitic virus which latches onto a healthy cells in a body in a manner that debilitates those healthy cells, toward their prospective destruction. Gnostics detected manipulative extraterrestrials that they called Archons as an artificial intelligence that pursues an agenda of pure ego. I saw that word in a Gnostic text I was reading recently, and I wanted to show it to you guys because it's not a new term. This, again, is something, the algorithm is trying to tell us something. Okay, again, there are angelics and there are not angelics. They're trying to tell us something with some of these news things that are being released. They're trying to get information out to us, but we're not understanding it. We're not receiving it in the proper way, okay? This is why I try to reframe a lot of the stories that they're telling you, because they're not telling us the truth about anything. I mean, we need to understand that. They don't tell the truth. They're actors, man. They get paid to act. And they all get paid to say the same script across the nation. If you've not seen that video, it's been up since like YouTube, the advent of YouTube, with all the news people from all over the world saying the same thing. It's funny how they took RT down too when I did the video exposing what was going on in Mexico. And also, when I showed the video of RT saying how they were laughing at America because America had replaced all their news people, all their journalists with actors and actresses. RT said that. You can't find RT anywhere on YouTube now. And Russia's bad, Russia's evil, because they don't want you to believe anything they say. If they say somebody is our enemy, that's our friend. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And I don't mean to be so bold as a woman, but I mean, somebody needs to be saying these things. We literally need to be stop being so stupidly led. Just like the Israelites. Like, what are we doing? We're being led into a more severe form of slavery. And now you have Christians talking about Bitcoin and all this. Why do you think they call it cryptocurrency? Why do you think that? That it has the word crypt in it? Why do you think they call it a blockchain? Back in the day, they used to call it a chain gang working on the railroad. Yeah, it's a song too. Working on the chain. Dude, it's slavery. It's shackles. They're wanting to put shackles on you through the use of digital shekels. Every time we enmesh ourselves or embed ourselves deeper and deeper into this type of tech, into this cloud type of tech, which I always thought was dangerous. Like, would you just lay your journal? If you have a diary and you write in your diary, would you just lay it out on the sidewalk with it for anyone to read anytime? No. No. Man, I don't understand. I just don't get any of this. There are millions of alien races. However, there is a group of aliens, the Archons, who are invading this planet. Now, if you don't understand the term Archons, think of the hierarchy in the Christian church or faith. You have God, you have his angels, the 7 that surround him, the holy hosts. Then you have, the cherubim and the seraphim. Archangels are actually lower. They're above guardian angels, messengers, but they are below the other guys. That's what Archons are. Archons, another word for Archons, are the fallen angels. Okay? It's just another way to express that same thought, I believe. That's what I think. And powers and principalities, right? The powers and principalities, they gave up their first estate. So if you're under the region of a fallen angel, as above, so below, well, then the area you're living in, because that angel is fallen, is going to duplicate that. It's going to represent that. It's going to be a fallen area. That's probably why this town where I live is the way it is. You know, when a leader falls, it's the same thing, right? His citizens or constituents are the ones who pay for it. His country, his state, whatever. When one of these principalities falls and gives up his first estate, says have at it, well then, you know, as above, so below is a real thing. This is why the church does not want you listening to some of this. Because yes, religion is a means of control to a point. There's a lot of truth in it. But we got to start putting these pieces together. I'm sorry, but if I'm told, especially in these times, by the Catholic Church not to read something, I'm going to read it. Like, I'm just going to. If the president now tells me not to look at this thing, I'm going to go look at that. Right? Like, that's what I'm going to do the opposite. We're finger puppets to them. This is what I was talking about yesterday with the chessboard. Not doorways. They can work us, but they can't come through onto our plane. I don't agree with that completely. I don't. Because if it affects your physical body and it's changing the person's physical body, they are actually here, right? In the physical form. And it can affect you. And I think that's the lie in this book. You know, and again, did he know that or is he withholding it? I don't know. But this is when you have to go to that inner gnosis. You have to be able to trust yourself. And to be able to trust yourself, you have to forgive yourself. Self-forgiveness is really big in your spiritual walk for letting go of these negative attachments, right? Like, I know I'm wretched. I know I've done wretched things. But I also know God loves me and I'm forgiven. And I know that now that I've had to deal with certain things and effects, that I'm not going to do certain things again, right? So have a takeaway, even from your negative experiences in this life, in this walk. Have a positive takeaway. What is your takeaway? Now knowing, okay, that I'm not just speaking out my mind or speaking off the tip of my tongue. There are people that understand the workings of this place, and we need to start looking back and paying attention. I'm so disappointed in what I'm seeing in our generation and the ones after us, X, Y, and Z. I'm disappointed in myself. I'm disappointed in the world and how it's being run and what has become of our negligence and our neglect because we all wanted to play and have fun and go on vacations. Meanwhile, our world was falling apart because we weren't attending to spiritual matters. I mean, it's one or the other. We're either going to start attending to this stuff or it's going to attend to us and take us down. Drag you down because it's attached to you and it has a vibration to it, right? It has a weight to it, a heaviness to it. So when I say make yourself lighter, I mean that in every sense of the way. Physically, spiritually, mentally. Let go of some of these attachments. It'll hurt at first, but it's necessary in this walk. I would like to do a video on that. I might do a vlog about that, about fasting from technology. And I also, we have to look at what the deal is with so many people trying to end themselves on live camera. It happened with a newscaster back in the 80s. That was a big story. Why are so many people wanting their demise to be shown either on live TV or to be caught on film? To be caught on film, right? Forecast. Look at all these words that are in our daily lives. And a lot of them, with the spell jargon, relates to cameras. Did you know that there are cameras that have a mirror in them and there are mirrorless cameras? Well, what if you have a camera and you're looking in a mirror and that camera that you're using has a mirror and you have two mirrors facing each other? Do you know what can happen? I'm going to talk about that in a vlog. But right now I'm going to go because this was a lot of information for, well, you know what? Let's go here real quick. I'll show you what I highlighted. This is what Christ said, and I have this part of this gospel. The Archons don't want you to be concerned about other people. They want you to obsess over your physical appearance and your bank account. In the gospel according to Mary Magdalene, the Christos says, this is why you get sick and die, because you love what deceives you. Anyone who thinks should consider these matters. They destroy your passion for learning and infiltrate, sabotage the educational system. Ultimately, they want to destroy all that makes you human, your hopes, your dreams, your joys. Especially, they want to destroy your spirituality. The Archons don't want you to be concerned about other people. They love seeing the comments about the homeless, about how they deserve that, and that's what you get, and drugs, and you got to help yourself. And I hope a lot of them aren't human. I really do hope they're bots. Because if that's what we got to deal with in the coming years, we are in deep trouble. We got to start helping each other. This is going to start getting very physically hard. It has just been working, behind the scenes. Now that the economy has been affected, now that people can't have their toys or what they want all the time, now that it's very hot, and ever since CV, people have, are a little antisocial. Please be very mindful. Observe your surroundings, your loved ones, those around you. Be kind, humble, and very quick to forgive if somebody gets short with you. And I'm talking to myself here too. Now here, through carefully reading the description that follows, you will begin to understand exactly who the enemy is, who your allies are, where God is in all this, and exactly how alien parasites enter a person's body. An explanation of the Gnostic galaxy. Okay. I'm going to end this one here. If you guys are interested in hearing more about Gnosticism, but more specifically about the Archons, I also have the Archons listed in a Rosicrucian book I have. And there's an Essene prophecy that I would like to read to you guys, but I don't know about uploads now. I'm not sure. They're not really getting views. I don't know. So just watch the channel if you're interested. I'll probably upload a few things in the next couple of days. I imagine with the fair in town and the things that are going on, it's going to get it might get very strange again for a few days. I mean, it already did with the Wild West story, so. Anyways, I love you guys. Have a great day. If you want to hear more about Gnosticism, let me know. When it's hot like this, if I can't be outside filming, I do readings that I feel like can help us in our daily lives or things we might be facing. So I have tons of books that I can read from. And I probably will for the next few months while it's warm. And I will add evening readings. Now, again, the channel is not going to be pushed if I do readings in the morning, readings at night. I don't have a set schedule. So if it's something that interests you, just keep an eye. Because if I get home from work tonight and I'm tired and it's hot and I just want to read and I feel like, hey, I'm reading, I might as well read to you guys, then I might read on a stream again. Oy vey, my words. The Practice of the Presence of God. It's a very short book. It's a very old book. It's very, very, the way that it's written is not by today's standards, which to me is a good thing, but it's very deep. And it's just about honoring God in like all your daily activities through persecution, through your down times, your down times, even if you're somebody like me who's just a humble caretaker of a home, right? You don't have a big important job or whatever. You don't have a title. It just tells you how to practice the presence of God and how to be reverent. And by doing that, your own spirit, I pray the rosary because I love God and I love people. When I don't pray it, I'm irritable. That shows me that it's not just helping others, hopefully, but it's helping me too. I have to sit down, be mindful. I have to be quiet and be thoughtful. And I have rosary readings on the other channels, I think, if you guys are interested. All right, I'm going to run. This was too long. But I do have a few high strangeness stories and vlogs I want to do. And I'm going to do an intro to the blood on film because there's just something there I think that we need to dig into. So we're going to. All right. And that will be talk about like the camcorder, the boogeymen, why all the boogeymen have so much in common, like Slender Man, like what's that thing that lives in the woods with the horns and the antlers? I don't know what they call. Oh, Wendigos, skinwalkers, all that stuff. And yes, I said the word. I'm not that superstitious. We're going to talk about all of it because again, I think we need to be aware of the beliefs of these older people and older societies, that there's truth in what they were saying, right? The youth has lost a real respect for generations that come before them. And again, that's probably our fault too. We got a lot of work to do. We need to be Christ. If you don't believe in Christ, then you need to be Buddha, right? You need to be the light. You need to be love. You need to be forgiveness. Don't just forgive. Be forgiveness all the time. That way, anything somebody does, you don't even have to think about it. It's not offending to you because you've already forgiven it, right? And I know some of this is a little mystical, but that's intentional because not everybody is meant to understand everything immediately. We all come to certain things and certain truths at different times, and I don't want to shock nobody, right? So I try to ease into certain things, and there are certain things I won't say. It's not that I'm not telling the truth. It's just that there are certain truths that I don't think, there's an order to things for a reason. All right, guys. I love you. Let me know if this interests you, if you're interested in hearing about Rosicrucianism. And I do have a book on the psychology from Augustine to Freud. And a prophetic book, too. Oh, and the world disasters from like the 1880s. It's a wild book I found, so we might take a look at that too. It's something easy to do during the hot days of summer. If it's too hot to go outside, there's too many bugs. I just sit inside and read, and I figure I might as well let you guys join me. All right, have a great day. Stay cool. Please hydrate. Drink a lot of water. All right. Do little tricks, whatever you can. Do not forget your pets. Refill their water dishes. Don't leave them outside too long. I need to remind myself of that because my one dog is just older and I forget him because he's not loud anymore, and I'm naughty for that. And I don't forget him for hours, just minutes. I love you guys. Have a